Vlogmas 2025.
Hello cyclists, welcome back to a brand new day of Vlogmas. In this video, I'm going to be flipping through my 2025 bullet journal. I ended up going with a Secu journal, and it has this little like silver dragonfly on the front of it, and it has sort of like a fabric-y cover. So let's get into it. The very first backside of the hardcover, I put my 2025 vision board, just, like things like embrace music again, being outdoor more, starting my corporate job full time. And then we have our nameplate with my kind of theme for this journal, which was music or sound waves. So I have a little bit of a piece there. This is the index to the left, and then to the right was a bit of a combination of like a cover page and a letter to myself. And it says chapter 22 because I was 22 this year. This is my future log with all of the important dates and things like that, but it has a little bit of a snippets of my themes from the year. And then we get into movies watched. Now, in years past, I've definitely watched more movies than this, so I thought I was going to need a full spread, but it turns out I really only needed one page. But oh well, maybe I'll put some decoration on the bottom here to kind of make it a little less white. On the left here, we have my TV show tracker. Same thing, is like I was kind of giving myself extra space for the different TV shows I watched, and then I would color in seasons that I have not watched yet. I've watched this year, we're in red, and then if I've watched a season before, I put it in yellow. So these are all of my shows. On the right was kind of just like a miscellaneous thing. So I had gift ideas for people and for myself, theme ideas that I could use, even though I didn't end up using any of these because I ended up doing a music theme for every month. I have some notes about my new Joe, so just as I was going through this year, different things that I either liked or didn't like that I wanted to make sure I remembered when I was setting up my new journal. And then these are all the themes that I used for the entire year, and then the yearly one was sound waves. This is my finance tracker. I made little Excel graphs and I tracked it in there and I printed them out. But I didn't really love how this tracker was because everything's so tiny, and I feel like the way that I set up tracking my finances just is not very thought out. So I would like to switch it up next year. Then we have my bookshelf, which are books read, which regrettably, I wish that I had maybe drawn out some more books like scattered throughout the case, because I think this is a decent amount of books, especially considering I went to college and graduated and everything. And then I have little notes and all of that. But yeah, only the first shelf was filled out. Then I have this was a new addition to my yearly spreads. It's upcoming art. So anytime there was like a movie or a book or an album coming out that I wanted to remember when it was coming out for, I wrote the name along the side here and gave it a little icon, and then I put it in this calendar of when it was going to come out. And I absolutely love this spread. This is something that I'm going to continue to use in my journals for a while. Now we get on to January, and so like I mentioned, every month I did a different like album or music themed thing, which I do feel was like a little bit restricting. I feel like I'm excited to get back into just spontaneous or whatever I'm interested in, but this was The Good Witch by Maisie Peters, and then we have our playlist on the side. I had a bit of Dutch door coming on here, and then we get into our calendar just with some quotes and some different to-do list things for the month. We have my budget tracker for the month, and then I tried out this for a few months, and then I just kind of fell off. These are just like current events and things that were happening this month. And then my friend and I do this movie winter scavenger hunt thing, so I made a little spread outlining the movies we watched and the different prompts and everything like that. Then I had my spring semester schedule, which was my last semester in college, and I had a last semester bingo on this side, which was really, really fun. I did bring this back later and it didn't work as well, but for being a full semester long bingo, I absolutely loved it. And then we get into the weekly spread. So I was trying this thing out where I would journal every week. And so I had different things that were happening throughout the day to help me remind myself, and then a big journal session at the bottom. And then sometimes I would include little mementos and things that happened throughout the weeks. Now we move on to February. This was a Vance Joy theme. This was a cover of one of his albums. This is my playlist spread. We have the calendar spread, which took up a full 2 spreads, as well as the to-do list for the month and some quotes. I had my budget tracker and my current events, and then I had just like a sort of scraps page, which I did start like late last year, and I have really liked this form of kind of like just like scrapbooking and journaling and just throwing a bunch of stuff onto a page, and I think it looks really cute. We're back with our weeklies. I tried to change up the weekly format slightly every month, and just to keep it different and keep it consistent and things like that. This was my Valentine's Day spread. I did a little bit of a scavenger hunt for my family, so I wrote down all the clues and everything like that. And then this was the list of all of the Mardi Gras parades that I went to go see this year, the dates, the names of them, and then who I went to go see them with, if I went to go see them with anyone. And this is just a little sticker that was funny. Next we get into March, which was Brat Theme by Charlie XCX. It was around this point that I was starting to kind of get a little bit feeling like boxed in with my music themes of the year, but I wanted to try to keep with it, and I did kind of fall off on the weekly journaling a little bit here. Then we get into April, which was a Sour by Olivia Rodrigo kind of theme. I absolutely loved this because I was able to use a lot of like just kind of cutesy little stickers. And I also made a little Dutch door to make it like a notebook. I had a future to-do list because I didn't really know when I wanted to do certain things. I just needed like a brain dump page. So this is where I sort of dropped the like weekly journaling thing, and I just did a big old journal session in the back. And then we get into May, which this cover was inspired by the Glee season 3 graduation episode album cover. I tried to get all of the poses that each of the Glee kids were doing, but I put me, and then I did like different hairstyles that I had throughout the years and things like that. And this is probably one of my favorites of the year. Like, it just came out so cute. I had a different projects list trying to group to-dos by different categories. And then we have a flip through of the budget, current events, and then we kind of did a scrapbooky page for some of my actual graduation day and some of my graduation pictures. Then we get into June, and this was inspired by Strangers on a Bench, which was a new podcast I listened to this year. It basically is a guy that goes and just has a conversation with a random stranger, and then he collaborates with a singer, and they make a little song about the conversation, and that's like the album or whatever. This was, my friend and I did a summer swap, so we picked TVs and movie shows and shows that we liked, and we made each other watch certain episodes or the whole movie. So I just wrote down the shows and the movies, who watched what, and then the theme for that week that we kind of stuck to when we went to swapping. I tried to do a bit of a like habit tracker thing going on here, and I think it was really cute having multiple things on the little mini calendars, but it was also a lot to keep track of. And this was my mid-year review, so I just gave myself a couple of prompts and then had myself fill them out. I'm going to do this at the end of the year too, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. And I tried to bring back that yearly theme to show like, hey, this is for the middle. Then we get into July, which was going to be a Harry's House theme, but I was kind of bored with the tan since I used a lot of orange from June. So I just kind of tried to mix it up a little bit and do like a collage of different things from his songs. So like music from a sushi restaurant, grape juice, cinema, things like that. And also I had a bunch of like kitty magazines from when I was younger. So I found a bunch of pictures of Harry Styles and put them in here, and they're kind of creepy, but I kind of love it. This is him with sushi. So hilarious. I tried to bring back my bingo, but I did it over a shorter period of time, and I didn't love how it... I have a little brain dump page. And then we get into August, which was also probably one of my favorite themes this year. I did a bit of a Dutch door situation for the entirety of the monthly spreads, but this was based from Epic the Musical that I listened to this year. And since it came in like a bunch of different sagas, I thought this would be kind of cool to pair with this Dutch door theme. My budget, and then my dailies. I had a little bit of a movie review page and some place to put some sticky notes. And then this was like a little planning for my vacation, packing list and things like that. Then we get into September, which was Wishbone theme. I kind of tried to do the Wishbone thing in September. And I kind of combined my playlist like around this. And I love the idea, but it just kind of looks messy. But these are probably some of my favorite weeklies just because I like the little mini calendars and it includes the budget and things. And it's just very colorful. These are some of my plane tickets that I scrapbooked into here. Trip. And then this is my little scrapbook from the actual trip itself. Took me way too long, but it was really exciting. And then when I was on this trip, I got to go see Conan Gray. So this is my review. And then I have all the set list and everything at the bottom on the side. Then we get into October. I was really kind of falling into a journaling slump here. So I based this off of the This Is Halloween Just Dance music video, which was one of my favorites as a kid. Very brown. I was kind of really losing steam. A little bit of a collage from an art show I went to. And from Halloween, some pictures and little things. We get into November, and I was doing a Life of a Showgirl theme, but I was still kind of in this journaling slump, so I kind of did something similar to July, and just did a little collage. But I do love the color combination of this one. It's one of my favorites. Another little like scraps spread, and then a spread for removing. This was when I brought in my weekly focus into things, and I think I'm going to continue this into the new year. Check out my goals planning video that is going to be coming out soon about it, but this was really helpful. I still need to fill in this Billie Eilish concert spread. I have the set list on the side and then some pictures, but I want to actually like talk about it a little bit more. I have some more weeklies where I was using that focus. Then we get into December. I really do love this, even though I was really tired and burnt out when I was doing it. This was the Fruitcake EP by Sabrina Carpenter, but then I changed the hair to be me, kind of. So I think it turned out really cute. And we have a gift tracker here for Christmas. We have little like fruitcake things here. So now we get into, this is going to be the last few spreads. This is going to be another graveyard thing, another weekly over here. This is going to be where my yearly reflection is set up, so I'm going to have those similar prompts. And then we get into like my album ranking spreads. I need to actually fill them in, but as you can see, I have the album covers mostly in there. And I'm going to just write what my favorite songs were and a few thoughts about each album and things. I finished this page the other night, so this is what it'll kind of look like for the rest of it. And then I have a page for planning out my new bullet journal. And I have a little pen test thing on the side, and I cut this bit out for some extra paper to fix some things. In the back, I just have some scraps and a little game card from when I went to the arcade. This was directions as to how to get a real ID, which they needed. So that's going to wrap up my yearly journal. So this was a year for me. It's crazy. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.